Story 1. Not that it destroys me, but it changes my mood completely. When people make fun of the way I laugh, which is heartfelt and genuine and a big belly laugh, it's ridiculous and makes most people laugh with me. But there are some people who look at me like I'm insane, and then I can never laugh around them again. Story 2. I'm not sure what single quote has the power to destroy me, but these two are the closest. I could never love you after a 2-year relationship with someone. I wish I never had you, my mother. Story 3. Well, several sentences after, I found out that my best friend of 15 years is a snake. They include, you do not matter to anyone or anything around you, so it is better that you do not keep denying it. You are useless and a pain, and no one is saying this, but really, you should have jumped that afternoon. Story 4. We did everything we could, and I'm sorry for your loss. The paramedics said after my mom took a nap on the couch and never woke up. It's been 7 months and 3 days, and I'm still destroyed, and it plays over and over in my head. Story 5. You make me happy, but being with you is making me miserable. Mental illness is insidious. If you think you might suffer from something that's negatively affecting your friendships or relationships, please talk with a therapist or psychiatrist before it's too late. Sometimes, even after getting treatment, the damage is already done. Trust is earned, but with a lot of people, it can only be earned once. Story 6. I remember the moment. I was in the hospital. It was my 29th birthday. My girlfriend and I had just been hit by a drunk driver. I was getting glass removed from the laceration in my arm. I was confused but calm. The surgeons stitched my wounds. My father walked in the room. I had never seen him cry before. He looked at me and broke down. I'm so sorry. She didn't make it. Wow, this blew up. Thanks for all the kind words. The past year has been incredibly difficult. Her presence is sorely missed. I was convinced that she was the one. The person who hit us is in jail for the next 12 years. Please never ever drink and drive. Get a cab and Uber a sober friend. The consequences of drunk driving are deeper than a lost license and a heavy fine. You could ruin lives. You could rip apart families. It isn't worth it. Story 7. We were only your friend because you wouldn't take the hint. That's a lot of upvotes. I'd also like to add that I don't think my friends actually dislike me. I'm just a very paranoid person and overthink everything. Story 8. It was an offhand comment my mother made while we were arguing about something or other. You're such a burden. Her English isn't great, and it was the first time I'd ever heard her say the word, or even suggest she knew what it meant. We still don't speak much. Edit. Made this comment to vent, but it seems it struck a note with a lot of you and confused some of you, so I figured I'd clear the air. My mother was verbally and mentally abusive for my entire young life, and she was a single parent, so I had nowhere else to go. This meant I became a weight on her, but I was made acutely aware of it frequently. I was a burden, though, because I really struggled and fought back, and we disagreed on everything, especially things like money and school. I wasted my potential, her words, by not finishing a university degree and pursuing other prospects, and my life went downhill, but she never bailed me out in a substantial way. No more than small amounts I'd asked to borrow like most 18 and 19-year-olds do. Why this hurt, though, was that I had turned my life around. I've had a stable job, I had multiple secondary sources of income coming in, and I was giving her a large sum of money every week to support her and her pursuits, without expecting any return. I was helping out and returning the favor for her taking care of me as a child, which is something she opted into. I found out why she was a single parent when I was about 15. She got pregnant, my biological dad told her to abort, and she didn't want to, so he left. She put this on me, and it was my fault her life was so hard. Took me a long time to come to grips with this. So when she fired that comment off during a random argument about money or politics or my life or whatever, that's why it killed me. Story 9. What if every relationship you've ever been in is somebody slowly figuring out they didn't like you as much as they hoped they would? James Acaster ironically said this during his stand-up routine, which otherwise was hilarious. Story 10. Your mother has passed. I was raised by a single mother for most of my life before she remarried, but even then it has always been me and her against the world. Most of who I am is because of her. I dread the day that she passes on to the next world. I know for a fact that sentence will destroy me. Not forever, but it will destroy a part of who I am. Thank you, kind strangers, for the awards on this post. It makes me feel better that I am not the only one who fears such an occurrence, which will eventually come to happen. For those who have lost their dear mother or father, my condolences. It is my sincerest hope that we may reunite with our loved ones someday, wherever it may be. Story 11. You look like you are going to spend your life having one epiphany after another, always thinking you have finally figured out what is holding you back, and how you can finally be productive and creative and turn your life around. But nothing will ever change. That cycle of mediocrity is not due to some obstacle. It is who you are. The thing standing in the way of your dreams is that the person having them is you. Story 12. Me and my female friend are growing apart right now, and I'm having a hard time accepting it, though I haven't brought it up. So mine would be, I can respond, and I'm only pretending to be busy. Can you please stop texting me? We aren't like that anymore. Whatever we had, it's gone. So just go. Story 13. What is wrong with you? This crushes me every time I remember it. It's what I shouted at my 4-year-old son after some random thing he did, and it's my most shameful memory. He burst into tears, and I worry every day that somehow it's imprinted into his memory and irrevocably altered his personality. I love him so much, but somehow my brain is just terrible with people, even the people I love the most. I wish I knew what was wrong with me. Story 14. You have been accused of inappropriate conduct with a minor. I'm a teacher. Just an accusation alone would almost certainly end my career. I literally have nightmares about that. Edit. I went to bed and woke up to 116 replies. Time to start reading. Edit 2. Apparently, you all just want me to have more nightmares, and I also had to go watch The Hunt. Edit 3. Since no one has mentioned it yet, if you want another movie on this subject with outstanding acting, check out Olana with William H. Macy. I got so mad the first time I saw it, I stormed out near the end. Couldn't handle it. Story 15. I don't know if I've ever loved anyone, said my fiancé, who had proposed to me a year prior. We didn't get married. It did destroy me. I had initiated the conversation about our impending wedding because I was concerned that we weren't working well as a team. I wanted a real family life. I'm still not sure what he wanted, really. I know he was a good person, but when things got tough, I wanted to be able to turn toward my partner for comfort and help and strength so that we could work together to solve whatever we were up against. He wouldn't try counseling. He wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't tell me what was wrong. Said that I was selfish for wanting us to have more similar work schedules. Said that it was weird for me to want us to have more intimacy and sex when we weren't trying to conceive. Insisted it was fine that we only saw each other 5 hours or so per week. I worked weekdays during the day. He worked mostly Saturday through Wednesday nights. It was hard. I loved him. I wanted more. He didn't. We slept in separate rooms that night and called off our engagement shortly thereafter. We shared our small house in separate bedrooms for 6 months after that while he made arrangements to move out of state. It was sad. It was a grieving period. But from destruction comes the opportunity for renewal. I lived alone for a while, got to know myself again, made a new routine, started over. Several months later, I reconnected with someone really special. He changed my life. We're married now. I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't had that conversation with my ex. Would we have gotten married? Had kids? Been miserable? Been okay with settling for each other? Could we have worked through things together and been genuinely happy? I don't know. I don't really need to know. My husband is the person I'm supposed to be with. He's my person, and I know I am his. He's my everything. I wake up in the morning so grateful for the gift of real, true love in my life. And I never would have gotten to this place if it weren't for the worst thing that ever happened to me. Story 16. Only unintelligent people get less than A's. My father would say to me as a child. Routinely hearing things like this from him really damaged my confidence and self-worth, on top of feeling like it's responsible for my abnormally extreme fear of failure. If I am not automatically good at something new, The overwhelming sense that it's because I am unintelligent makes me quit quickly. If someone even jokingly calls me unintelligent or stupid, I shut down internally and find the quickest escape from the situation. It really hits home when I'm talking to someone or telling a story, and the person doesn't even notice if I stop speaking mid-sentence. I feel like this contributes to why I've always been antisocial and terrible with relationships. Story 17. I love baking and particularly enjoy making over-the-top cookies. They bring so much joy when I bring them into work or take them to parties. I was in a long-distance relationship, so whenever we'd visit, I'd bake something new and special. If he was having a bad day, I'd overnight him a carefully packaged box of homemade cookies. When we were breaking up, nothing nasty, just realizing neither of us ever wanted to leave our respective cities. He told me he didn't even really like cookies. I spent so many hours looking up recipes, buying ingredients, prepping, baking, and that was what I got. When he tried to get me back later, haha, nope. I need a man that appreciates my cookies. Story 18. For me, it wasn't the sentence, but the lack of one. There was one person who brought some light into my everyday life, and she just stopped responding. Without any clue what I did wrong, or what went wrong in her life or anything. Being left behind without a single sentence of reason why crushed me more than anything before. Story 19. Everyone in the family talks about how you need to get your act together, but we're all afraid that if we say something about it to you, you'll have another one of your little breakdowns, my mom said around 2015. I still haven't gotten my act together. I still have severe depression. Story 20. The words my mom told me after our last talk. Note: we are no longer on speaking terms, and I just wish we could patch things up. You have been nothing but a pain for everyone. You can't do anything right. You'll remain stupid and alone forever. I don't want to see you ever. I need a hug. Edit. There's a reply to this somewhere buried in this thread, semi-explaining what prompted this because I'm being asked about it constantly. I'm not going to fully explain what actually led to this, but I will say that I was at a difficult point in my life that I put myself in, and an argument went horribly wrong between me and her. I'm just going to leave it at that. Story 21. You can do better. You come from a family of fighters. I was 16 and I was running suicides at practice. Only the coach knew that at the time, my dad was fighting cancer and the outlook wasn't great. Now I'm a heavier person and I'm not particularly fast, but I beat every goddamn guy on that team. I crossed the last line with a face full of tears. I was always really quiet about him having cancer, mostly because I tried not to believe it. Few people in my life knew just how bad it was, and even fewer knew how poorly I was dealing with it behind closed doors. But my coach knew, and he flipped the switch from self-pity and misery to motivation. He said that 7 years ago this week. I tear up every time I think about it. My dad lost his fight 2 months later, but damn it did he fight to the very end. Story 22. It would have to be when my biological mother said something along the lines of, I thought I raised a smart kid. Turns out I didn't. It stuck with me for the past 2 years because ever since I was born, she always had emphasized how much more academically advanced I was, and tried to make it her top goal to make sure I was educated, at least until I hit high school. She also told me for years how my being smart was always my best quality. At least now she's eating her words because I basically tricked her into either leaving me alone in my father's custody or coming back and getting arrested for child abuse. Story 23. I cheated on you, they are not your sons. I'm taking full custody, but you still have to pay child support. That's when I eat the gun. Story 24. I've heard it before. I don't recall the exact sentence structure, but I was told that my anxiety was not valid, that it was all in my head. Everyone has bad days and I should just suck it up. That one, said by a work-provided compulsory counselor of some sort, nearly killed me, and I'm not embellishing that. Story 25. This is the last time you will ever speak to them again. It's never quite been said to me, but it never had to be. Sometimes it's obvious, other times less so, but it never stops hurting. Story 26. I'll tell you what destroys me and what builds me up. 1. But in the end, you will still end up alone as you always have been, as you clearly still have not improved more than enough to warrant anyone to be remotely interested in you. 2. If I am capable of feeling the complete depths of depression without any cause, why not instead choose to be happy without a cause? Story 27. I'm worried that my friends don't love me anymore. Not like they used to. That's because we don't. Story 28. Any of my students. I've already had enough close calls. I'm just glad they trusted me enough to reach out. I'm terrified of the day that one doesn't. Story 29. We did everything we could, and he held on for such a long time. He's such a good boy, such a very good boy. There's still some time to say goodbye. You should be with him when he goes. We'll give you a few minutes alone. Story 30. You are not capable of emotions. You don't understand it. You just use me as an emotional tool. I can't stand your voice or your calls. Don't contact me. You know who after 8 years of relationship. Story 31. What is wrong with you? In any situation, this would hurt me. The most memorable time it came up was from my mother's mouth. Any other time the sentence came out, it would remind me of that moment, and it hurts me. It was specifically when I told her I had been hallucinating. She never helped me. I still hallucinate people, but I keep it to myself, and it drives me crazy. It makes me feel like I want to end it all.